Good Monday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversation Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Well, it's a brand new day, it's a brand new week, which means it's a brand new opportunity for you to do something amazing, and it all begins today. Because you have your news headlines coming up on this Monday, we have a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By, and in today's Entertainment Spotlight, you'll be part of my conversation with actor and animal rights advocate Burt Ward. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Monday headlines. In national news, Uvalde report says 400 officers, but egregiously poor decisions. Nearly 400 law enforcement officials rushed to a mass shooting at a Uvalde elementary school, but egregiously poor decision-making resulted in more than an hour of chaos before the gunman who took 21 lives was finally confronted and killed, according to a report that was released on Sunday. The nearly 80-page report was the first to criticize both state and federal law enforcement, and not just local authorities in a South Texas town, for the bewildering inaction by heavily armed officers as a gunman fired inside a fourth-grade classroom at Robb Elementary School. At Robb Elementary, law enforcement responders failed to adhere to their active shooter training, and they failed to prioritize saving innocent lives over their own safety, the report said. The gunman fired approximately 142 rounds inside the building, and it is almost certain that at least 100 shots came before any officer entered, according to the report, which laid out in damning detail numerous failures. Among them, the commander of the Border Patrol Tactical Team waited for a bulletproof shield and working master key for the classroom, which may not have even been needed before entering the classroom. A Uvalde Police Department officer said he heard about 911 calls that had come inside from the classroom, and that his understanding was the officers on one side of the building knew there were victims trapped inside. Still, no one tried to breach the classroom. The report, the most complete account yet of the hesitant and haphazard response to the May 24th massacre, was written by an investigative committee from the Texas House of Representatives. Swiftly, the findings set in motion at least one fallout. A Uvalde Police Department officer who was the city's acting police chief during the massacre was placed on administrative leave. The Uvalde mayor said an investigation will be launched to determine whether the individual should have taken command of the scene. In more national news, panel says hearing to show Trump's January 6th dereliction of duty. A House committee primetime hearing Thursday will offer the most compelling evidence yet of then-President Donald Trump's dereliction of duty on the day of January 6th insurrection, with new witnesses detailing his failure to stem an angry mob storming the Capitol, committee members said on Sunday. This is going to open people's eyes in a big way, said one representative who was a member of the House committee investigating the riot, who will help lead Thursday's session with another representative. The president didn't do anything, he said. After a year-long investigation, the House January 6 panel is seeking to wrap up what may be its last hearing, even as its probe continues to heat up. The committee says it continues to receive fresh evidence each day and isn't ruling out additional hearings or interviews with a bevy of additional people close to the president. One such figure is Steve Bannon, whose trial begins this week on criminal contempt of Congress charges for refusing to comply with the House committee subpoena. The committee also issued an extraordinary subpoena last week to the Secret Service to produce texts by Tuesday from January 5th to January 6, 2021, following conflicting reports about whether they had been deleted. In business news, Biden vows strong climate action despite dual setbacks. President Joe Biden is promising strong executive action to combat climate change despite dual setbacks in recent weeks that have restricted his ability to regulate carbon emissions and boost clean energy such as wind and solar power. The Supreme Court last month limited how the nation's main anti-pollution law can be used to reduce carbon dioxide emissions from power plants. Then late last Thursday, Senator Joe Manchin said he wants to delay sweeping environmental legislation that Democrats have pushed as central to achieving Biden's ambitious climate goals. Biden, who has pledged to cut greenhouse gas emissions in half by 2030, compared with 2005 levels, said Friday that action on climate change and clean energy remains more urgent than ever. In entertainment news, Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck wed in Las Vegas drive-thru. Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck were wed over the weekend in a late-night Saturday Las Vegas drive-thru chapel, culminating a relationship that stretched over 2 decades in 2 separate romances and headlined countless tabloid covers. Lopez announced their wedding on Sunday in her newsletter for fans with the heading, "We Did It." And finally, in more entertainment news, Thor stays #1 at the box office. The Marvel sequel Thor Love and Thunder dropped a hefty 68% in its second weekend of release, but still held the top spot at the box office, according to studio estimates Sunday, while the best-selling adaptation, Where the Crawdads Sing, debuted with a better-than-expected 17 million. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By. Enjoy. Hello everyone, I'm Cyrus Webb, and welcome to Monday's episode of Words I Choose to Live By. Use today as an opportunity to write a new chapter, one better and wiser than the one before it. Your life is yours to live. Make sure you spend this moment living it. Have an amazing Monday. Burt Ward is featured in today's Entertainment Spotlight right here on Conversation Daily News. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with Entertainment Spotlight. Actor and animal rights advocate Burt Ward joined me on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about his journey in front of the camera and what it's been like for him to make a difference in the lives of others. Here's a bit of our conversation. Many people have gotten to know you, and even you mentioned that on your website. They got to know you as Robin, as part of the TV show Batman. What has that been like for you, Mr. Ward, to be able to have your career really recognized, and I know a couple years ago, even getting your star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame?
It's been fantastic. You know, I was 21 years old when I was making Batman, and at the time, it became the #1 show in the entire world. We were on twice a week. It's hard to describe what it was like then when everything was batty. I mean, women had hairstyles that were Batman. I mean, kids were putting on towels and around their necks held together with clothespins and jumping off their couches wanting to be Batman and Robin. It was such an amazing, trippy show that was fun for the entire family. And, it's endured. I mean, Batman, here it is, 55 years later, and is still in reruns all around the world.
You become an advocate for animals. You share a very personal story, Mr. Ward, on your website, GentleGiantsPetProducts.com. What has that been like for you to not only be able to help pets, but also to be able to make a difference in the lives of pets?
Let me tell you, for the last 28 years, my wife and I have rescued more than 15,500 dogs. Every one would have been put to death if we hadn't been there to save them. And all of these animals in 28 years have lived in our home with us.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning into this edition of Conversations Daily News. But we have to get on tomorrow with more news, message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, we're your host Cyrus Webb saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today, and let's go make it a great one.